On this week's GTA 6 o'clock, is GTA 6's map twice the size of GTA 5's?
Are we happy about that, Dan? Do we want a double-sized map?
The Easter egg hiding in the latest online update.
These are the hidden packages from GTA Vice City.
And GTA 6, but anime and Lego? It's all here on this week's GTA 6 o'clock. Hello and welcome to episode 53 of GTA 6 o'clock, coming to you live from Los Santos. Yes, if you missed last week's episode, GTA 6 o'clock, the world's most in-depth and best connected GTA 6 show, is now broadcasting every week from our new base in the heart of the city. I'm your host JJ, and it is another beautiful sunny day here, but the latest weather reports suggest that it could be our last one, as snow is on the way and it's likely to last for a few weeks. How are we all feeling out there? Or more specifically, how are you feeling, Dan?
Haha, I'm not feeling that good, dear listener. I actually have been off work ill this week, so I'm dialing in virtually to our virtual studio. So this feels like some kind of Inception moment.
Yes, we have dragged Dan out of his bed to record this week's show. So if the audio is sounding a little bit different from normal, apologies, but we are, yes, dialing in remotely rather than being next to each other for this week. I was going to say, Dan, that if your answer was that you were feeling slightly disappointed this week, I would understand, because last week, I will say, was a disappointment on the GTA 6 news front. We had multiple rumours, some of which obviously more credible than others, but as we now know, they all led to nothing. However, we did get a trailer. It was just for the GTA Online update and not the GTA 6 trailer we maybe wanted. The trailer was for, yes, the GTA Online update, which is out now. It's called Agents of Sabotage, for anyone who missed it. There is, in fact, a small teaser or reference to GTA 6, or at least Vice City, in the artwork, in the shape of a small statue that you can see in the artwork. These are the hidden packages from GTA Vice City. In GTA Vice City, there's 100 of these. You go and collect these tiki statues from around the map, and by collecting them, you get something like $100 and some weapons for every 10 you collect. You can also see that this exists in-game in the trailer, and actually the update is out now, so you can actually go and see it and collect it in-game physically, and then it will sit on your little desk. There's going to be a total of 5 statues, including this one, and these are unlocked for the completion of each mission.
I was just going to say, just before I jumped online, I was actually watching the new DLC, Agents of Sabotage. Someone was live streaming it, and the missions played out very, very similar to a heist, but I guess like a solo heist, where there was lots of stealth as your character infiltrated a large museum building. Lots of shooting people from behind with sniper rifles. There was a section where you popped on night vision goggles. And actually the reason I mention it is because the tiki statue was in a glass case. So you had to smash it and take it out. And then suddenly everything got very loud and it turned into a shootout. So it was very much a classic GTA mission. I didn't watch much of it. I had a quick scroll through chat to see if anyone was saying, OMG, Michael's back, but that's not the case. Certainly not as far as I'd seen. So, it'd be interesting to see if that holds any greater secrets than the little glimpse I got of it.
Yeah, so far, Michael is not back, and I don't think he will be in this update. Well, of course, we'll see if there's anything more to uncover once all the missions have been completed. I will say it seems to cost about 20 million of your GTA dollars to buy everything that's in this new update. So if you've got 20 million GTA dollars, go and splurge. The new business will cost you about 2.3 million. But for now, I think this is just a nice Easter egg, right? It's not really pointing to anything else.
I think so. I think they're just saying, we see you. We all know GTA 6 is coming. Here's a cute but not that significant little nod to the fact that things will get loud soon.
One of the things that you can buy in this update actually is a $1.3 million collectibles scanner truck, which is a big old truck that does exactly what it says on the side of the big old truck. You can get in it and you drive it around the city, and it scans in a pretty close proximity for collectibles that you to collect in and around the world that you might have missed from previous updates and all of that kind of thing. I think what this is doing, as we have said before, is it allows everybody to move closer to that either 100% at GTA Online in as much as you can 100% GTA Online. Like, you've finished all the missions, you've done all the collectibles, to get everybody up to that, yes, I've done it, now what's next? Obviously, you can also use a website instead of spending 1.3 million of your GTA dollars on the truck, but, you know, you can go and buy a truck to help you on that journey.
Yeah, I feel a little bit like I could see myself sat in that virtually in the collectible scanner truck, having a virtual existential crisis about what has my life become, that I'm sat in a virtual truck scanning for collectibles. But respect to anyone who is going to do that. But, you know, it's nice that Rockstar are making that nod and I guess allowing the completionists in us to finally move on.
All right, we've got a few more little points to cover now. And the first up is there's been a new report from Jason Schireier, which came out this week, which has a couple of key points that I think are worth highlighting, Dan. Do you want me to go and I can bullet point them, and I think then you've got some things to expand on them as we go through them?
Yeah, I think if you top line it, that's interesting for the listeners. And then I think there's some interesting things in the choice of language that Schireier uses that I'll pick out.
So there's sort of three top line bullet points, if you like, that we can talk about here. The first of which, and maybe the most significant, is that other publishers are leaving it as long as possible to announce their release dates because they want to make sure when GTA 6 is going to come out, whether that's going to be 2025 or 2026. I think this is significant because we are about, at time of recording, to see the Game Awards, which happens this Thursday on December 12th. And I think many of those Game Award trailers for games that are coming out in 2025 might, at this stage, just say 2025 rather than pin down a month or a specific season or anything like that, just because, as Schireier would point out, everybody is waiting to basically get out of the way of GTA 6 if they need to. The other point is GTA 6 will have a significant online mode with new content added over time. I think this is very obvious, and it just feels really just like making that point for the sake of making the point. And then the third one is writers have been requested to be more friendly towards minorities instead of them being at the butt of many jokes. So you could read into that and say it's a whole lot of nothing. But there is some wording, specific wording, Dan, that we should talk about.
Yeah, I wanted to zoom out a bit and say that the context of Jason Schreier's writing is interesting because he now works for Bloomberg, who are one of the world's sort of leading business publications. So he's writing not just for gamers, but for an audience of people who are like games adjacent, or just interested in the games industry. And I think by virtue of working with Bloomberg, he has an even higher added layer of vigilance to adhere to, I think, in terms of Bloomberg's reputation. And I think it's why, like, the first paragraph or two of this article is, and the headline it comes under is, you know, Grand Theft Auto 6 will rule the video games industry in 2025. And then there's two paragraphs of, like you said, just talking about this is a really big game. You know, the first sentence is GTA 6 isn't just going to be the biggest video game of 2025. It will almost certainly be the biggest game of the decade. And possibly the most lucrative entertainment product of all time. And there's lots of talk about, you know, supporting stats. The bit where it starts to get interesting is a couple of paragraphs in where, and this retreads stuff we've heard before, where it says, development of GTA 6 began a decade ago, but only started in earnest after Rockstar's last major release, 2018's Red Dead Redemption 2. That project pushed the development team to the brink, requiring late hours and creating a culture of tension and aggression. Seeking to improve its workplace culture, the company ousted several executives and promised a more reasonable schedule. And it says, but a massive hack in 2022 complicated things, leading Rockstar to clamp down on remote work and direct employees to return to the office 5 days a week, rankling staff. So I don't know if any of that, James, sounds different to anything we know before. I think that's just confirming what's been said. And what I think, the thing I want to pick up on, we might come back on this later, is the impact the production of Red Dead Redemption 2 has had on Rockstar as a company and a culture. We've talked about this on the show, but I think that might be interesting when we talk about some things later on. Now, what's interesting is when they talk about the release date, it says Rockstar, subsidiary of Take-Two, has said little about GTA 6 other than the fall 2025 release date. There's an interesting bit where it says about the release date. It confirms, as you say, GTA 6 has already missed multiple deadlines. It says a common practice at Rockstar, but Take-Two says it's now on track. What is interesting, I think, is the change in language where it goes from missed deadlines at Rockstar, but Take-Two says it's now on track. Now that might be a semantic thing, but I think it's interesting that it's almost like Jason Schreier deferring to the official communications that we've covered in great depth from the earnings calls, rather than sort of almost implying he's clearly had a source or has a source at Rockstar, Jason Schreier, but the language he's using is like Take-Two centric, like I guess economy side facing. I thought that was interesting. I don't think it necessarily infers there is a delay. I think Schreier wouldn't write it's on track if it wasn't, but I still think it's an interesting split between the two. Now on the point you mentioned about the writing, there's a bit where it says Rockstar is asking its writers to be less crude towards transgender people and other minorities. It says the common targets are throwaway gags in previous versions. So that just adds a little bit of detail to that. And otherwise, there's a little bit added about the online mode. That is, I'm looking at the language. It just says the title will feature a significant online update, selling in-game content designed to generate viewers into the future. I mean, that's obvious, right? Like, I guess it confirms that it's true. Of course it was true. We all knew that. And then the other interesting thing is that it says a lot of games publishers are waiting as long as possible to commit to their release date for the title, because they're all basically terrified of GTA and keeping eyes on, will it slip into 2026. You can check out, the language of that. We might have some of that on the screen. I don't think anything of that is new, but I do think it confirms a lot of the reporting we've done and a lot of the stuff we've seen elsewhere.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think this is more of a summary of the year, which is actually what we did on last week's show. More than anything like brand new. I guess in terms of the release date, the significance is what's not being said. Like there isn't a hint or anything towards a further delay. Like it's still very much like you say, Take-Two say it's on track for fall 2025. We know that it's missed multiple deadlines internally, but I think the ones that you're talking about in that report are the old deadlines that it previously missed in terms of its development. And, I think at one stage we thought it was going to be early 2025, which would suggest that one of those deadlines it missed was coming out already. Or not already, but soon, March, and it's been pushed back to fall officially. So, yeah, I think a good summary of everything that's happened, but nothing really new to touch on. All right, then, let's move on to something a little bit more fun. There's been a new mock-up of the GTA 6 map, Dan. This has been created by Dark Space on YouTube. We'll put a link in the description. You can probably also see some footage on the screen. Now, what they have done is used some data from some of the 2022 leaks to make the GTA 6 map within GTA 5. I think they've recreated it in a modded version of GTA 5, and it uses like Rage Engine points, which is the data that Rockstar use to accurately map what GTA 6 might look like. And they have run a helicopter from the very south of the map in GTA 5 and alongside in GTA 6 to the very north of the map, and to see how long it takes to travel from one end to the other. I will say, and we've said this many times before, that the southern half of the map here seems pretty set. And I think this is the thing that people are pretty much agreed upon. The middle and the north side is where things get a little bit more grey. But either way, I think this is probably quite a good representation of the length of time it might take to get from point A to point B. Now, this runs, like I said, from the very south of the map to the very north of the map. It takes about 3 minutes to get there in a helicopter in GTA 5, and the concept map takes about 6 minutes to get from the very south to the very north of the map in what could be GTA 6. So double the amount of time. 3 extra minutes to reach the northern point. Before we get into this, are we happy about that, Dan? Do we want an effectively a double-sized map from south to north in GTA 6? I know you've had questions before about, having to drive all that way between cities.
Yeah, and how many times I got to fill up the car on the way there.
At least twice.
Can you can you remember? I think we made, and it might have been you, it might have been me or someone else. We made a video when GTA 5 came out where we drove the length of the map. Can you remember that video? This is going back 10 to 13 years or whatever it is.
Yes.
And that took, I'm trying to recall, about 20 minutes, but that's driving. And that you're saying that it was a chopper ride, was it, in this video?
Yeah, like a straight north to south.
Sure, so it's full
south to north
route.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're going straight through. Yeah, so I mean, I remember doing that drive, and it was huge. And doing it at double length, again, it's not necessarily good or bad, but I think it will be important that, I think it's often the case with GTA games, particularly the bigger map ones, where the bits in between can feel a bit like filler. They're purely there to create distance and not much interest. And I guess you could argue that's a fair representation of US geography, where, let's say, for anyone who's ever driven to Las Vegas, there's not a lot going on some of those roads.
Yeah.
It's just it's nothing, right? So I think that's fair. But video games probably have an obligation to be slightly more exciting than that. So I think as long as they can pick and fill it in the right way, so that, for example, the second and third city areas, assuming that that is true based on what we think, actually feel proper, and not in a way like where you look back to GTA San Andreas, where Las Venturas, for example, literally felt like the cardboard set from Blazing Saddles. So I don't think that will happen in the modern world. I think they'll all be pretty fully realised, but as long as that's the case, I think that could create a very interesting game. So yeah. I think it's good. It's a good thing, done well.
And it wouldn't be anything that I don't think anyone should be worried about. Like, even if you look at Red Dead 2, once you get into the free roam bit of that, like, there's some huge open areas in that are, just desert and forest, and you're riding around that on a horse, and horses.
Yeah.
I have my sources to say that horses are significantly slower than cars or helicopters. And that game felt like it was alive and full of loads of stuff going on all the time. So I think they'll be able to fill it with all the things that we've talked about before: Strangers and Freaks missions, mysteries, things to go and uncover. And, it will just visually look amazing. I don't think you'll be sad about having to spend time in, even if you do have to, walk through a forest that on the surface looks like it doesn't have anything in it. I think it'll be a lovely looking forest. So it might be just a nice bit of escapism. What Dark Space has also done is recreated some small areas of the map based on some of the leaks and some of the trailer footage. So if you really want to get an idea on like a lo-fi to mid-fi to some of the bits that actually look really good about what the streets might look like, you can go and check out that video. It's pretty impressive work either way, and does give you a pretty real sense of what some of those environments might look like. The good news for you, Danny, he has also created some gas station filling up clips, and what that might look like when you're filling up your car. It's just as exciting as you've talked about over the last year or so.
Yeah.
And the final clip that he puts at the end of the video is a small skateboarding clip, which I think you might be a little bit more excited about, which is obviously skateboarding hasn't been in the game before, but it's of the character skateboarding through one of these environments that he's made, and it looks pretty good, which does lead me to think if skateboarding is in the game, there's a potential of being able to skateboard through the entire city. And is all of that city going to be interactable with the skateboard? Like, can you grind on all the curbs and can you go on all the rail? Or is it just going to be a massive potentially, skateboarding simulator for you to enjoy if you want it to be. Like that opens up a whole load of questions.
Good Lord. Well, what to say, like on a technical level, and I do wonder, like Rockstar's form, Rockstar once, I used to look at old driving games where we had an open world city and go, this game is great, apart from the fact you can't get out of the car. So GTA said, we're giving you all the driving from those games you like, plus you get out of the car and do all these things. So, why couldn't it not invalidate, but a game like Skate and go, hey, look, there's an entire Tony Hawk style skating game just within our game. Now, someone who's more technical than me might point out that that's actually really tough to do from a physics perspective and to make it interact with pedestrians, and maybe that's just not possible, but that's so exciting. And just to add, this wouldn't be Rockstar's first skateboarding game. Like, if you go back to the PS1, they did create a Thrasher game, which wasn't very good. It was realistic to the point where doing a kickflip was really hard. Really hard. And I don't think they'll be doing that again.
No.
And if it was to be skateboarding, I mean, I have a question for you. If it was to be skateboarding, would you rather it was like Tony Hawk style funsies and collectibles, like high speed, or something a bit more skate-like and notionally a bit more realistic?
I think I wouldn't mind it being like a free roam open world, just go around on your skateboard. But then if it got to like a specific, you go to the vert ramp or you enter a competition or something and you have to do tricks, I would like that to be a bit more Tony Hawk style of like hold the triggers and press a button to do a trick and end up doing like a 900 over and over again, which is slightly impossible. But I'd like it to be, sort of go around with it, you just press X to push yourself along in the streets, and then maybe to do a bit more of the complicated tricks on a ramp with some button combos.
Yeah, I think on the streets I'd be happy with, like, I definitely would need to be able to ollie and grind.
Okay.
And then a couple of flip tricks. I mean, look, what am I saying? I just want a really hardcore skate sim within GTA. That would be properly mind-blowing. And I know mind-blowing is a word that people have used in the context of GTA. Let's wait and see. But I'm here for it, much more than I am filling up my car with gas.
Well, then we both win, so that's good. Just quickly then, it's time to talk about some games other than GTA 6. What? I know, but okay, look, don't worry about it. It's all relevant. This week, I think it's worth talking about that we have seen two games that are, let's say, borrowing some GTA vibes. First up, we've got this game, which I think we're going to pronounce Ananta.
Yes.
Good. I'm glad we're agreed on that. This actually looks like pretty good as a concept. It's definitely borrowing some shots in its trailer almost identically to the GTA 6 trailer. We can put some comparisons on screen here. So get calling the lawyers. But this is a game that was announced this week. You can pre-order it or pre-register now for what I think is some sort of early access type thing. It might also just be like a newsletter and news updates. It's sort of an anime version of a GTA game, basically. Will it ever come out? Who knows? It looks very ambitious, I will say. Also, there's skateboarding in this trailer as well, Dan. It looks like it's got everything in it, but it also looks like one of those games that you see in a few trailers, but then never actually materializes.
This game, it looks amazing. And I remember you dropping this link into chat last week, and we were like, whoa, it looks... I mean, and it's really like GTA. Like the Miami vibes are off the charts. It almost shot to shot in some parts, like quite cheekily so. Now, this game, the couple of things I found shocking about this game. One is that it was actually announced over a year ago. I think Gamescom 2023. I didn't see it. And I feel like if I saw a game that looked this good, I would have done. But
I think it had a different name back then, right?
Right, okay.
It was
Yeah,
called
and
Project something. Let me have a quick look. It was called Project Mugen.
oh, yes. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
so
Yeah,
now
right.
we know.
Yeah, now I sort of
I'm not
remember it.
expecting anyone to remember that, but
No.
I think it was announced under a code name.
So that surprised me that I hadn't. It felt like a new thing, but I guess it had sort of been around before. The other thing is, it's supposed to be a free-to-play game, which is surprising, and it's being published by NetEase, who aren't a company who don't release things really. Like I would have thought this is definitely going to happen. So yeah, quite exciting. Like very GTA 6 riffing. It made me think of that hilarious, that meme-worthy game that went around that looks just a tiny bit like Horizon, Forbidden West, which is like a shameless rip-off, isn't it? This isn't quite that, but it definitely knows what it's doing.
Okay, well, something that will come out tomorrow, in fact, if you're listening to this on Wednesday, is a new mode for Lego Fortnite. This is, yes, we've got basically GTA Lego before we get GTA 6. But have a look at this trailer as I tell you about it. I'm going to pull some facts out of the press release. This is the world of Lego Fortnite expands this week with a series of updates, including a brand new social roleplay game launching in Fortnite on December 12th. It's called Lego Fortnite Brick Life. On December the 12th, Lego Fortnite Brick Life goes live, a brand new social roleplay game where up to 32 players can live it up in the heart of a bustling city in Fortnite. Players can explore vibrant areas throughout the city, customize their dream home, take on jobs, and interact with friends and other players through text chat. Lego Fortnite Brick Life is an ever-evolving experience that will receive new content updates over time, including new jobs, resources, and events. Now, if you thought the last trailer looked a lot like Vice City, oh boy, this one also has some very Miami Vice City vibes, but I am totally here for it. Now, if you haven't seen like what Lego is in Fortnite, it's basically a Lego game, but now it's just within the Fortnite app. So you load up Fortnite, you go to Lego, it's a totally different section. All the characters are made of Lego. It's very different from like base Fortnite. It's just now that the Lego experiences exist within Fortnite. I'm definitely going to be checking this out once it launches. Obviously, if there's anything in there that's much more like GTA than what the trailer shows, we'll bring you updates on it. But yeah, I like this one. You know, you can do all the stuff that we wanted to do. You can go to the gym, you can get jobs, you can hang out with your friends, you can build your apartment. Take note. Thoughts on this one, Dan, versus the other one? Do we like this?
I think it looks really good. I mean, I'm fond. Everyone likes Lego, right? But this looks fantastic. I was sat at dinner last week with a man who markets Fortnite, and he was quizzing me about how do my children play Fortnite and what modes do they use. And I said, look, I wouldn't be lying to you if I said they largely, if not exclusively, play the Battle Royale mode. And this is the sort of thing that I think might get their attention away from it. It does raise an interesting question. We've talked about all this stuff on the show, of course we have. That GTA Online, will it be a game where everything exists within GTA Online? Or, like, to look at the Fortnite model, like you just said, Fortnite's Battle Royale mode is almost a completely standalone game from the Lego game.
Yes,
it's just that they're exactly, they're standalone, but they're just presented under this banner as being part of the same universe and experience. But it's what it really, Fortnite really, in its umbrella sense, is a collection of other games, of which Battle Royale is by far the biggest. But I wonder if, I'm not saying I actually believe this, but it's just to say, would Rockstar consider similar branching experiences or sideways facing products under the GTA 6 umbrella or GTA Online umbrella? Or will their thing be, and I'm thinking of the skating game here, like would they have like a pure skating mode, or would it just be that the skating mode exists in the same world that people are firing rocket launchers and doing all these different things? I don't know. I think they'll look to keep it cohesive, but it's an interesting thought that if they were to literally copy the Fortnite model, that's actually like an umbrella grab brag of lots of different games.
Yeah, and I think Epic and Fortnite are in a slightly different position where they have Battle Royale on the one hand, and then Lego going, yeah, but we want to have our brand represented in there somehow, and we don't want people going around with rocket launchers destroying each other. Whereas in the world of GTA, that's sort of like an accepted thing. I think you will get environments and missions and jobs within online that, like you do when you do racing now, that like restricts a lot of those things and says,
Yes.
if you're coming here to do, the skateboarding, you're just here to do the skateboarding. And people are going to...
We're switching off them. Someone's not going to suddenly arrive in a helicopter with a
Hopefully
rocket launcher.
But
with a car that needs refueling. You'd be like, oh my God, please, not now.
You can take on your role in GTA Online as the guy who just does the filling up of cars at the petrol station. That is your only job, and you're just there to fill up everyone else's car.
Oh, well, that would be a 5M server. It's your job then to chronicle the lives of people who are far more exciting than you. You get to recount their stories as you endlessly refill cars. God, what a tragedy.
I love it. That was a good segue, Dan, because speaking of tragedy, this is all going to come full circle, don't worry. We've had an email from Matt who says, thank you for making me aware of Grand Theft Hamlet. You see, it's because it's a Shakespeare tragedy, and I've made it.
James, it's the best transition between sections we've ever done, and it was by accident. So.
Yeah. He says he saw it in preview and found it thoroughly fascinating as someone who loves both Shakespeare and GTA. The comparison between a work and genre usually considered more sophisticated, it's not, he's put in brackets, mixed with the absolute carnage of a GTA Online public lobby was brilliant. He goes on to say that he feels that Shakespeare was written in a time. It was written for entertainment for the masses in a similar way that GTA is today. Big characters, big action, and a whole bunch of satire about current affairs. So he says, thanks. Long-time listener since the GTA 5 days. Keep up the good work. Hope for the sake of you guys and the general sanity of the community that Trailer 2 drops this side of Christmas. Well, Matt, thank you for your email. A little follow-up to this is that film, Grand Theft Hamlet, has now won 2 awards at the British Independent Film Awards. One for Best Debut Director of a Documentary, which was awarded to Pinny Grills and Sam Crane, and the Raindance Maverick Award, which celebrates the most bold, creative, and risk-taking filmmakers. You can see it for yourself on the big screens across the UK and Ireland, and it's got an exclusive global SVOD release on Mubi, who is the global distributor, which is a streaming service, in early 2025. So if you haven't checked it out yet, it is on in UK cinemas and then available to everyone globally. But yeah, the thing that we mentioned a few weeks ago, people are going to see it, and it's winning awards.
Yeah, I wanted to call out, Matt actually pulled out something I thought was very, very smart, where he said that, he says, I feel that Shakespeare in the time it was written was entertainment for the masses in a similar way to GTA today. Big characters, big action, and a whole bunch of satire about current affairs, brackets usually in the form of anatomy jokes. And he's right. He's right. And I think that does the fusion of the two. They're two mass market things of their day that put side by side look like they're completely different. But the reality is, no, they're not. And I do wonder if in years to come, GTA or GTA Online or video games as we play them today will be seen as some kind of highbrow anachronism. You do wonder, because time has this curious effect of making us all look like fools. So, yeah, really great observation that, Matt. Chapeau to you, sir.
Yeah, and I wanted to point out that last comment about Trailer 2 on the final point. I hope for the sake of you guys and the general sanity of the community that Trailer 2 drops this side of Christmas. Well, let's just pick up on that quickly before we round off the show. I think we've reached the point now where no news is now news, right? People are now writing, there hasn't been any news this week. Here's the news. The news is no news. The lack of updates, I think has become good for Rockstar. You know, like people are still talking about the game every week, as we are, even though it's been over a year now since we've seen trailer 1. But if you want some hope to hold on to for the rest of the year, here are a few things. Dan, how about you rank these in order of importance or likelihood, whichever you feel best about. I don't mind. Number 1, exciting news. Rockstar have unpinned trailer 1 from their YouTube channel. Pretty significant. Nothing, no response from Dan on that. Okay.
No response.
Number 2,
I need to hear the others. At the moment, that's the best one, but it's the only one currently.
the best one.
Yeah.
Number 2, GTA 6 was in the Game Awards hype trailer, but they are nominated for most anticipated game. I'm pretty sure this is going to mean nothing. And number 3, cast your mind back to December the 24th, 2012, when Rockstar revealed new images of GTA 5 with a happy holidays message. 1, 2, 3. Any of these likely? And I've got another follow-up question after that. But do you think any of these are significant?
So in the order you said them, 1, 2, 3, I rank them 1, 2, 3. And I've been slightly facetious, but from a technical standpoint,
as in one as in Rockstar unpinning their trailer is the most significant thing.
Well, I mean, I'm being facetious because we're deep in the swamp here. There could be all sorts of reasons for that, but you know, you could argue that's an actual technical change which may purport to something else.
It's a manual significant change.
Yeah, there's a conscious action that has happened there. What does it mean? Maybe nothing. But it's a conscious action. So I would say that there's some significance in that. It's in the Game Awards hype trailer. Yes. Like you would put the biggest game of next year and of the next decade, as Jason Schreier said in your hype trailer. They are nominated for... I forget what terminology the Game Awards use because we all know everyone just wants to be the most wanted game.
Yeah, it's most anticipated, I think.
Most anticipated, okay. Well, I don't recognise that terminology.
No.
And that's a joke referring to the last episode because we also won the Golden Joystick Awards, everybody. So, yeah, of course, that was a good excuse for them to put that in the trailer. The conspiratorial-minded might say it's not there for an accident. And could this be a clue that Jeff Keighley will announce the next trailer of do you know, actually, like, and James and I talked about this at length off air. I will say this. Though I won't say the things we said off air. I probably, for the last week and a half, 2 weeks, I can't remember exactly, I felt less positive about the trailer happening this year, which has sort of increasingly got less positive as things have gone on. And my favourite day was always like today for something to happen, which as we record at 1:42 p.m. GMT doesn't feel like it's happening. I mean, I may be about to eat egg in an hour or two, but will something happen at the TGAs? I was at an industry thing last week with a very prominent head of one of the world's leading news games websites, and I can't even say it out loud. He'd said a thing that made him think could, and I stress this is like a maybe, could GTA 6 be at the Game Awards? He almost asked it to me as like a question, knowing that I spend a lot of time thinking about GTA 6. I said I would be surprised, but you never know. And he essentially nodded and said the same thing. But there was something that I wouldn't. No, people. I'm even scared to say it out loud because if people spin this as a oh my god, GTA 6 o'clock have said this. It's not what I'm saying.
Well, let me say that my response to it would be: will they be at the Game Awards in some form? Like they're almost nailed on to get most anticipated game, most wanted game in 2025.
Of course.
So will someone go up on the stage and collect that award? Probably. You'd expect, they came to the Golden Joystick Awards, they collected their most wanted game there. It feels like they would do the same thing for the award show that is 2 or 3 weeks after that. So are they going to be there? Yes, in some capacity. Does that mean anything in the wider sense of it? Not explicitly, no. Does it give them an opportunity? And this is pure speculation from my part, but does it give them an opportunity, if they win that award, which we're pretty sure they're going to win that award, to come on the stage and say, thank you very much for this, as a lovely treat for all our fans watching. I'm pleased to announce that something is coming on this date before the end of the year. I would say it gives them that opportunity to do that, or it gives Jeff Keighley the opportunity to say something like that on stage. Like, congratulations to Rockstar, and I'm pleased to tell you that this update is coming on this date. What I don't think will happen is we'll see a full trailer or anything new in the Game Awards. What I think we might get is a tease of a tease at some point. But even that, I'm questioning as I say it out loud. So I think, as we've said for the last few weeks, who knows? But let's wait and see. We've only got another day or so to wait.
I have got I feel like 20% like there could even be a trailer. I know that's only that's small.
The flip-flopping, Dan, that's gone on from the last few weeks when you were like,
I think
definitely
things
no
change.
trailer.
Things change, don't they? And like time has moved on. So I think the announcement plan we speculated on based on the past has not materialised. I think there's a tiny chance.
Okay.
The only thing I would say in defence or against that is, if it was to drop at the Game Awards, there is no Game Awards. Because all of the reporting will be, did you see GTA 6 trailer 2? Which I think is exceedingly bad for all of the other massive publishers who are planning to announce games at the Game Awards. And I have been told there will be a significant number of major announcements at the Game Awards. And the sense of, I think, Jeff Keighley positioning this event as the industry's had a terrible year, let's get together and promote how brilliant video games are. And that kind of phrasing is something that you might use. It's what I would think to use to Rockstar, to go on. The industry's in a really bad place. Be part of the spearhead of saying to the world, video games are back. That's a tempting play to Rockstar's vanity as the most anticipated game in the world. Doesn't mean they'll bite, but it's an attractive play. But it would completely override everything else. No one would write about who actually won, and might have the reverse effect of highlighting the distortion of GTA 6 and how popular it is. So that's the reason I would talk myself out of it. So,
well, look, if you want some more meat on that horse of yours, I would say that we already know Borderlands, I assume 4, is going to be shown off at the Game Awards. With new gameplay. Randy Pitchford is going to be there. We also know that Mafia: The Old Country is going to be there with a trailer. That is 2 Take-Two games. Now, if you were being a marketeer and wanted to package up all of these things into a lovely bundle and say, well, if we're putting 2 of our games in it, why don't we put the extra one, the big one? Then there's something to be said about having their entire lineup of games in that show at one time from a company perspective. But at the same time, they've also said, why would we put GTA in the same window as something like Borderlands? Obviously, we're going to make them avoid each other. So, swings and roundabouts.
On a purely financial level, there was reporting going around that appearing in the Game Awards was costing something like $500,000 per trailer. If Take-Two are putting 2 trailers in the Game Awards, it's $1 million. Would it be tempting for them to say, how about $0 for them, but you can get GTA 6 for free? So in effect, Take-Two are saving themselves $1 million.
Yeah.
Is that even a thing that would enter their minds? I don't know. But
and then there's the question of, would Take-Two even pay for those games to begin with? Wouldn't they just say these are big enough titles and
sure,
where's the free card, please?
They might be. And hypothetically, like if Take-Two came to you with that deal, would you take it?
If Take-Two came to me with a deal of anything GTA 6 related, of course you're taking it. Yeah, you guys can have half an hour in the show if you want for your other games. But
I mean,
as you say,
I'd let them have it for $250,000. I think
Okay,
we
good.
could step back slightly.
fine. I think, but as you say, you'd have to then go to the other companies and go, guys, some news for you. We're running a GTA 6 trailer. And I think the reaction to that would be, well, what's the point of us putting anything in here then? So,
Yes.
yeah, it raises a lot of other questions around that.
You'd almost have to declare that it was happening because everyone else would be furious.
Yeah, and
In
then
the same
point
way
of-
they're all trying to avoid its release date, right? Like,
Yeah, but I think you declaring that to those people significantly increases the risk of a leak at some stage.
Yep,
So I think if
yep.
that was happening, you're going to know about it before it happens, basically.
Agreed. Hey, this is fascinating.
Well,
Point number 3.
okay.
Sorry, I digress. This is safer.
Well, let's quickly slip into number 3. In 2012, on December the 24th, as a little Christmas present, Rockstar released 3 new images of GTA 5 with a Happy Holidays message. Could this be something that they do for GTA 6? Yes, would be my take.
Yeah.
It'd be a nice little treat. How likely is it? I'd say probably more likely than a trailer appearing in the Game Awards.
Yeah, I agree. Well, as I said 20% for a trailer at the Game Awards, and I would give this a 40 to 50% rating.
Fine,
would you
particularly
go
as nothing
higher?
has happened, right? That would be.
Oh.
If,
I agree. 60, 70 if nothing has happened, I would say.
well,
It's an,
there
it's
you
an
go.
easy thing. It's innocuous, right? It's just saying, we haven't forgotten about you. Happy holidays. Here is an exclusive image of Leonida at Christmas or with snow or something like that. That's not going to happen because does it ever snow there? Anyway, you know what I'm trying to say. Somewhere up north where it snows.
Okay, it's a mountainous region with snow on
It is
top.
6 minutes in a helicopter.
That is true. It's allegedly a long way from north to south. Okay, let's say thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for getting out of bed when you're not feeling great, Dan. Appreciate it. Appreciate all of you guys who are listening. Thank you also for all your comments last week about having this in GTA Online. I know loads of you were really excited about it. We will continue to do it. Thank you for your support. If you've got anything to tell us about, you can tweet us at GTAVOclock on Twitter/X. You can email us gtavio'clock@gmail.com, or you can comment below. And if you're commenting below, why not hit the subscribe button while you're there? Thank you again for listening. I think we've probably got one more show before the Christmas break, but we'll let you know all about that next week when we return for another episode of GTA 6 O'Clock.